Hello, it's Rachael O'Connor. I'm the principal psychologist and director of the therapy spot here at Palm Beach on the beautiful Gold Coast. It's the day before ANZAC Day, so I've had an interesting day, and many of my clients have been referring to the ANZACs and talking about what they're going to do tomorrow. And also, I've been spending some time thinking about them. You may not be aware, but I actually come from a military family. My father was in the Air Force, and on my mother's side they were in the Light Horse, and my grandmother actually met my grandfather because he served in the Light Horse with her brother. A bit of a romantic story. On my father's side we had multiple members in the war. The one that I know the most about is one called Daniel O'Connor, and he served on the Western Front, and he lost his leg because he was shot in the ankle during World War One, and because he came home, I am here today. So he was a very brave man and actually won several medals. He won the British War Medal and the Victory Medal and the Star and some other things. I'd like to spend some time today having a think about, oh goodness, don't tell me I've lost her, some aspects of our veterans. And one of the things that I discovered talking to my clients today was something called the purple poppy, which I'd never heard of before. And I've been to many dawn services, and you know, we're pretty lucky here on the Gold Coast. We have a absolutely beautiful, if you can call it that, service at Currumbin, and it is remarkable, and they do it very well, the Currumbin RSL, and we play the last post. And often the other thing that happens at our dawn services is that our veterans and our serving people, after they pass, their ashes are often spread in the ocean on ANZAC Day. So that also makes it quite significant for many of us watching. I have a lot of respect and time for veterans and serving members, and I actually see quite a few in my practice, and I'm constantly astounded by their courage and their tenacity, and often their humour. They're quite funny people. Anyway, I was going to talk to you guys about the purple poppy. We all know the red poppy is to mark Armistice Day and to remember our fallen soldiers. The purple poppy is for the animals of the war, and the animals that have fallen and the animals that served, and to mark their time. And I thought, oh, that's really interesting. So I thought I'd actually have a look and get you one of the stories from one of the animals of the war, one of the animals that might have been around when my great-grandfather was over there serving on the Western Front. And I might actually just read this to you because it's actually quite well written. It's I can't remember every bit of it. It's about canine hero dogs in war from a website I just looked up, and it's about Digger the bulldog. So I'll try and go as fast as I can. In the autumn of 1914, Digger was astray, and he knew nothing of the war in Europe. And when troops started arriving at Broadmeadows, he went to have a look. This dark brown and white bulldog quickly found a kindred spirit in a young man, 22-year-old Sergeant James Martin of the 1st Division Signal Company. When the regiment finished their basic training and marched to the troop ship, Digger went along, and Sergeant Martin convinced the authorities to take Digger along as their mascot when they sailed from Melbourne in October 1914. Digger went on board with them, and he served for 3.5 years. And Digger saw action, that's what they say, in Gallipoli and the Western Front in France and Belgium. But Digger was no spectator. He was on the front line. Ever faithful to those he adored and who adored him, he went over the top with the troops, not once, but an astounding 16 times. Bloody hell. Digger was part of life in the trenches. When the alarm sounded for a mustard gas attack, he knew the drill and went to the nearest soldier to have his gas mask fitted. On a doggy. Despite this, at Posse years, he suffered chemical burns and wounds that troubled him in later life. Undeterred, Digger took food to wounded soldiers in no man's land and brought back messages for those capable of writing. In the process of doing that, he was wounded, gassed and burnt. He lost one eye, most of his teeth, and became deaf in one ear, but he served on. In early 1918, his owner, Sergeant Martin, was invalided out of the army, and Digger was repatriated with him, and they returned to Sydney together. And they raised money together for the returning troops, and in recognition for Digger's war effort, the War Office awarded him a silver collar engraved with the insignia usually reserved for a returning serviceman. So that is the story of Digger, which, you know, we may not know. Well, I didn't know till today. And there was so much that happened that we may never know. But we remember, and we remember the courage, and we remember the bravery. And I hope you take some time tomorrow to commemorate these people and to commemorate the men, the women, and the animals that were there alongside, fighting for the life that we have today. It's Rachael O'Connor on the spot at the therapy spot. I hope you all have a good night and a good day tomorrow. See you soon.